Karsten just won the Cape Town Masters with a brilliant performance, scoring 8 out of 9 points, 7 wins, 2 draws. He bagged himself 12,000 Rand as well as 13 ELO points. And today I'm going to be taking you over one of his most impressive games of that tournament, his game against I am Watu Kobese. And anyway, the game starts with e4, e5, and now I am Watu plays a very weird move. He decides to go for the king's gambit, and uh, this was very, very unexpected to see. And Karsten decided to play d5, and there is some crazy tension in the center already, as you can see. And actually, after the game, I was lucky enough to speak to Mr. Karsten, and he told me that he'd never expected King's Gambit, but this was in his prep for e4, e5. So if you guys respond to e4 with e5, you should take note of this game, and you can add this line to your repertoire against the King's Gambit. Okay, Watson chose to take on d5. Now comes pawn takes f4, knight to f3, and here comes knight to f6. Notice that black can take this pawn, but like if I play a few random moves, notice how quickly your position is going to be completely losing if you are not focused. So that pawn can be taken, but it's not a good move. So instead, knight to f6 was played. Now comes bishop b5 check, c6, pawn takes, knight takes, and now comes d4. And here comes the move bishop to d6. And white cannot play this move d5. It looks like it's just winning a piece. But this can actually just be taken, because after queen takes bishop b4 check, and whoops, the queen is hanging. So d5 cannot be played. So instead, Watu Kobese decides to play queen e2 check. He doesn't want to allow black to castle easily. Now comes bishop e6, knight g5, and guys, prepare yourself, because now comes one of the craziest pieces of prep I have seen in this tournament. Here comes the move castle, knight takes bishop, and most normal people will just take the knight back, and after check they would move their king, and after castle they will try attack the queen, maybe take this pawn. Probably this was what could have happened. But here comes the move queen to b6, ignoring everything. Ignoring everything. And Watu takes this knight. Now queen takes bishop. Notice the rook is hanging for the fourth move in a row. The rook is hanging. But if this rook is taken, now comes the move rook to e8. And that's a skewer against the queen. And after something like this, for example, notice we do not have to take the knight back, but instead queen takes g2, followed by queen takes h2, looks very powerful. Pawn to f3 is a huge threat, deflecting the knight, and then the rook will not be protected. And this knight is trapped anyway, so there's no need to take it right away. When black has a free move, he will just take it. So okay, anyway, in the game, Watu castled, and now comes rook to e8. This rook has been hanging for 5 moves, but now it is pinned, and here comes pawn to c4. Rook takes knight, queen d3, and white is threatening to go pawn to d3. And I am Karsten plays queen to e4, which is given as a blunder, because it was better to go pawn to f3, just not caring at all. The computer doesn't care. If you take this, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to win your pawn. And you might be thinking, well, pawn to d5 is just a fork. Well, you are wrong, because queen c5 check, king here, and now look at this. Your rook is hanging, but white's king is so open, it's already game over. The rook's going to come in, the knight's going to come in, the bishop is looking here, the queen is looking, and white's pieces are all stuck on the back. So this is definitely not a fun position to play at all for white. So after queen to e4, here comes queen d1. It was better to exchange queens. You'll see why very shortly. Because pawn to g5, knight c3, queen f5, pawn to a3, rook to e8, just normal developing moves now. And now comes pawn to b4. And here comes one of the craziest ideas I have seen in this tournament. One of the most brilliant ideas, actually. Knight to g4. And you might be thinking, okay, that's not too difficult to see. The knight is just going to go to e3, then the rook is going to take it. But that's not the idea. Rook to a2. Knight takes h2. I am Karsten sacrifices a full knight, and after it is taken, now you can see the idea. Pawn to g4, and I just want to say the game ended in 4 moves from now. In 4 moves time, the game is over. And why is that? Well, you will see. King to g1, well, Watu knows that this check is coming, so he just moves his king out the way. Now comes queen to h5, knight to d5, rook to h6, going for full-on mate. And now comes rook to e2. And here comes a beautiful little maneuver, by the way. Notice that black wants to play g3. Wants to play g3. But now, after takes g3, the queen will be able to exchange for black's queen. And yeah, actually, black will be losing because white has 2 pieces and black only has 1. And they both have a rook each, obviously. But watch this beautiful little maneuver. Check, check. And now he takes, because now after pawn to g3, there is no longer a queen exchange. And yeah, actually, Watu just resigned because there's no ways to stop the checkmate. You can give a check, but then I just move the king. And there's no more checks unless you want to sacrifice your queen. But Watu just resigned, and a beautiful display there from young Mr. Karsten. He's only 15, by the way, and a beautiful performance in this game and a good tournament win. Please like and subscribe if you liked this video.